Welcome back to FM Storey. We're into season 5 of our Sport and Save, and things are not going quite as well as we would have hoped. We have only lost one game this season, which was to Real Madrid in the Champions League, but we have drawn half of our league games, including throwing away leads against Porto and Benfica. And the way things are going, I think we need to have a rethink on the tactic as well. Before we get started, if you do enjoy the video, please like, comment, subscribe. Without further ado, let's get going. We've made it to the end of October, and when we came in this episode, we decided to go for a change in formation, largely because we spent a lot of money last season on centre halves. So we've got 3 top quality centre halves, and the formation we were playing, we could only play 2 of them at a time. So we've opted to go for 3 at the back, 2 wing backs, 3 in midfield and 2 up front. The only downside to this is we've got quite a lot of wingers that aren't necessarily naturals in other positions. But largely things have gone pretty well. Since we got spanked by Real Madrid, the form has picked up. We've won every game. We haven't conceded a goal. Admittedly, we've only played one team that are anywhere near decent, which was Ajax in the Champions League. But hopefully this is a sign of things to come with this new tactic as the players get used to it. We started off with a game at home to AC Viseu, and it looked like the formation worked pretty well because we scored in under 18 seconds. Ismail Assar opening scoring. Marcus Leonardo picked up his first goal of the season just before the half hour to put us 2-0 up. We managed to miss a penalty, but Valentin Carboni added a goal in the second half to make it 3-0. A really comfortable performance. We weren't in any real danger at the back, and we looked a lot more secure than we had at any point in the season so far. We then started a pretty rotated team in the Taça de Portugal against Caldas. In the end, we came out 2-0 victors. We made hard work of it. We scored a penalty early on, and we got a goal in injury time. We had loads of chances, just didn't take them. Again, we were pretty secure at the back. So hopefully this is a sign of what the formations do, and hopefully we're a bit more secure. We might not score as many goals, but if we can reduce the number of goals we were conceding early on in the season, then that's a bonus. And then, as I said, the first team of any kind of quality that we've played since the change of formation, we went away to Ajax. We dominated possession. We took a lead just before half-time with Thiago Thomas. They had a player sent off for a wild lunge on Thiago Thomas in the second half. We were hanging on a touch at the end. I mean, they hit the bar from 30 yards with about 2 minutes left. But again, they've not created too many chances. They've only had 2 shots on target. The defence is pretty solid. Asimovic is taking a bit of time to get used to the wing-back role because he was more a full-back than a wing-back. But hopefully, as the more he plays, the more he develops. And things are looking pretty good. Obviously, we've only played one league game since the end of the last episode. We did win it, obviously. So we are still unbeaten. We've got 15 points from 7 games. We've played a game more than Porto, so we're 5 points behind them. Because of the draws, we're 4 points behind Vitória Guimarães. Benfica have had a couple of defeats, so they've dropped off a touch. They're a couple of points behind us. But we're not out of it by any means, and really it's just a case of if we can produce some performance, get some goals and keep those clean sheets, then we should hopefully be thereabouts towards the end of the season. And as far as the Champions League is concerned, obviously we lost the previous game against Real Madrid, so we've played 3 games, won 2, got 6 points, so we're sat in 15th place, largely because the goal difference isn't great, having been hammered by Real Madrid. But we're in a pretty strong position. And we've got some winnable games left. I mean, we've got Partizan, we've got Dinamo Kiev, we've got Fenerbahce. So hopefully we can pick up some wins in that, push us up the table, so at least secure that playoff place, and get through to the next round. Going into the game against Chaves, this is the team we've picked. We've gone with Nyanzu, Diamande, Rual, now our 3 best centre halves. Goncalo Estevez has been like a new player playing in the wing back role. Asimovic is playing on the left hand side in that. And then the midfield 3, Marita's injured. Verratti, every time he plays, seems to pick up a knock of some sort. So we've gone with Menino, Esugo and Krastev. We've got Marcus Leonardo playing as a pressing forward behind Thiago Thomas, isn't it? Advanced forward. And obviously looking at the bench, we've got some serious firepower on the bench if we need to change the formation, if we need to bring people on to score goals. So hopefully we can get off to a good start and keep everything secure like we have done in the last couple of games. Got him behind us down that left hand side pretty easily. That is not exactly the start we were looking for. We've been so secure before. Now Krastev with the free kick. Nyanzu 1-0. I mean, we looked so shaky in that opening minute, and yet 20 seconds later we've gone up the other end. Free header in the middle of the box for Nyanzu, and he gave the keeper no chance. Leonardo got the ball back, but they've nicked it back again. Right, Rualt to Asimovic. Diamande, Sugo. Right, Asimovic down this left side onto Thiago Thomas. He skipped past the defender. Pulls it back to the edge of the box. Sugo. I mean, we still haven't played any really good teams. Ajax is the best team we've played, but we are playing the ball around nicely. I mean, pulls it back to the edge of the area, takes a touch, and then just lashes it past the keeper. Diamande wins the header. Menino nicks the ball back and then gives it away. We've been a lot more sloppy on the ball in this game compared to the last couple of games. Nyanzi picks that one up and goes back to the keeper, who spreads it wide left to Asimovic, down the line to Thiago Thomas, who loses out. Estevez nicks the ball back, looks for Thiago Thomas at the back post. He squares it. Leonardo taps in, and surely he was onside there. It looked onside. But Estevez anticipates, gets the ball up to the back post to Thomas, who takes a touch. Another one, then squares it, beats 3 defenders with a pass, and there's Leonardo to tap home. Krastev with another free kick. Diamande at the back post. How can that be offside? Swings the ball over to the back post. Diamande 1-on-1 at the back post. Just towers over the defender and powers his header past the keeper. Right, we've got a goal kick here. Diamande onto Krastev. Asimovic. Rualt. Menino. Leonardo. Back to Leonardo. Oh, too heavy a pass the keeper got there. Right, Sugo wins the header. Menino gets caught on the ball. This is the worst we've defended since we changed the formation. But we got caught on the ball, and there was too big a gap between the 2 centre halves there. I mean, overall, that was a great first half. We scored 4 goals, 6 shots on target. Got to be pleased with that. The only slight concern is how easy they're getting in down that left-hand side between Asimovic and Rualt. And effectively, that's where the goal kind of came from as well. But maybe some more work to do on it. Maybe the formation certainly seems to be working in terms of largely keeping us more secure. Just the extra bodies in the middle of the pitch as well. So the only change we made is we've swapped Rualt and Nyanzu around just to see if that will help secure us a bit. Krastev in the box. They've cleared as far as Nyanzu. Sugo and Diamande. Menino. Sugo looking for Max Leonardo. And hopefully this formation will bring Marcus Leonardo out of his slump. I mean, that's only his third goal of the season so far. I think he probably had about 15 or 16 by this point last season. A lovely ball over the top, just ran off the defender, and then just with the outside of his foot past the keeper. Another really pleasing performance. We seem to have hopefully turned the corner a bit since given how we started the season. I mean, we only won 3 and drew 3 of the first 6 games. We've kind of turned the corner a bit. That was the first goal we've conceded since the Real Madrid game. We're not maybe creating as many chances as we did with the 4-3-3, but we seem to be a lot more clinical with them, getting better chances. Hopefully we can continue with this form as we go through the season. We're at the end of November, and by and large, things have continued in a decent run. We had one slightly disappointing league performance, but we're still unbeaten in the league. The next game we've got in the league actually is away at Maritimo, which is the only game we lost in the whole of last season. So hopefully we don't come a cropper there again. After the Chaves game, we started with a game away at Partizan, where the first half we weren't really up to much. They scored a free kick from the edge of the box to put them in front. It turned out to be their only shot on target. We did sort of turn it on a bit in the second half with a penalty from Marcus Edwards and a goal from Thiago Thomas. We came away with a 2-1 victory. We probably should have scored more, especially in that second half, but at least a win's a win. We were then at home to Rio Ave, and we got off to a pretty decent start. Ismail Assar opening the scoring after 8 minutes. Unfortunately, they pulled one back pretty much shortly afterwards, and it was pretty much the last chance they had in the whole game, as you can see from looking at the XG match story. They didn't have another chance after that. We had plenty of chances, just we weren't good enough, not clinical enough, and in the end we had to settle for a 1-1 draw. We then played Chaves at home again in the Taça de Portugal, and we played okay. We didn't probably create as many chances as we have in some recent games. The first half was pretty even, as you can sort of see from the XG match story. Second half we were a lot better. Unfortunately, Marcus Leonardo picked up an injury that's going to keep him out for a couple of weeks. Valentin Carboni was able to add a second goal for us to see us win 2-0 and get through to the next round. And then in the most recent game, we were at home to Feyenoord in the Champions League. Again, we created a load of chances. Again, we weren't clinical enough. We were missing Leonardo and we were missing Thiago Thomas. Marita got the only goal of the game for us. Rualt missed a penalty in the second half. In the end, we won, so it's good. The performance could have been better. But apart from the Rio Ave game, the defence has been a lot more solid, and we've not really given any decent chances up, and we've played well. The Rio Ave game was hopefully just a blip, but we need to kind of push on and make sure that we can get those wins and put them back to back. As far as the league is concerned, we're down now to 4th in the league. We're level on points with Benfica. Both of us are 4 points behind Vitória Guimarães and Porto. We are still unbeaten, as are Porto and Vitória Guimarães, except they've won an extra couple of games, and we've obviously drawn a couple more. It's really important that before we get to, I think it's March, where we play Porto and Benfica back to back in the league, we need to really get ourselves together and put in some performances and start getting more points and stop drawing so many games. As far as the Champions League is concerned, we're currently sat in 9th. We're out of the top 8 that get the bye on goal difference, so we're in a pretty strong position to at least make it into the playoff round, and we've got a couple of decent games left to come. I know we've got Arsenal to come next, I think, in the Champions League, but after that we've got Dinamo Kiev and Fenerbahce, who both have only got 1 point between them, 1 point each, in the league phase. So hopefully we can at least get together a couple of wins against them, and that should stand us in good stead and put us in a decent position come the end of this league phase. for the game against Maritimo, we've got what is turning out to be our strongest defence. We're playing Krastev on the right side of the three in midfield, largely because his set pieces have been almost like a cheat code, especially a free kick he's finding, be it Diamande or Nianzu at the back post every time. Up front, with Thiago Thomas is back from injury, so he's playing the pressing forward role. Valentin Carboni's playing the advanced forward role. But as with it, every game we go into, we've got plenty of firepower on the bench if we do need to change things up or bring some players on. Right, they've got an early free kick at the back post, or they've hit the bar. What were we doing there? I'm not so sure about the calmness we've played it about around the back there, but Carboni going on the left hand side, cuts in front of the defender into the box, shot deflected up. Right, Nianzu heads down to Asugo, who lashes it clear. They've got it back though. Krastev forward to Thiago Thomas, looking for Carboni over the top. 1-0. A bit direct, but Krastev lashes it forward. Thomas takes a good touch, immediately looks for Carboni over the top, gets in front of the defenders, and then just slots it past the keeper. I mean, overall, got to be happy going in 1-0 up at half time. Obviously, they hit the bar in the first couple of minutes, which was a bit of a concern and a bit of a wake-up call. But we took the lead, and then not one worthy highlight after that. Take the boring 1-0 win. Edwards with a free kick. On Roat's header hits the bar. Edwards and just gets it to Ribeiro at the second time asking, but it's too easy for the keeper. I mean, not the best of performances. I mean, basically we scored the goal and pretty much shut our shop. But given that we came to Maritimo last season and lost the only league game we lost in the whole campaign, good to get out there with a win. Still, some of the players are still adapting to the new tactic, but overall things are looking pretty okay. And that's the end of this episode. Things are looking reasonably okay, despite our sticky start to the season. If we could stop drawing games in the league, that would be ideal, because the cup competitions in the Champions League seem to be going reasonably well. The switch to the new formation seems to be going okay. Key players still need to adapt to it. We still need to figure out some of the best positions, particularly up front. But overall, things are going pretty well. And thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.